Hello and welcome to The Big Picture. My name is Lewis and I will be your host today. In case you're unfamiliar with what we do here, we take popular media, TV shows, movies, and critically analyze them and pitch a way to make them bigger and better. If you want to get involved, you can follow us over at _ The Big Picture on both Twitter and Instagram. We usually kind of tease what's going to be coming up over there. But before we get to today's subject, we will introduce our esteemed panel. Coming up first, he was last week's host. Adam, you did a marvelous job. How you doing today, man?
I'm good, man. Thanks I think I did a great job. I'm looking forward to you hosting this week. We're going to bring the heat.
Well, you're putting a lot of pressure on me because the feedback was you done good, so I don't know.
big shoes to fill.
Yeah. Now, I don't want to reveal this week's episode topic just yet, but if there was ever a game made for a man, it was this man. His favourite team was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because pirates, and his parents named him after the monkey in Pirates of the Caribbean. It's Jack.
Named after the monkey, even though the movie was out before I was born or after I was born or whatever. But I'm sure that like my mum and dad had been in cahoots with like Disney for like quite a few years just to make sure that was set in stone. But as you said, if ever there was an episode for Jack Graham, this is that episode, and I cannot wait for the likely ridicule from the rest of my panel and yourself throughout the entirety of this. So that'll be fun.
It's something about you. You've been groomed to be nothing but a pirate lover, so I'm genuinely looking forward to your critique of this subject. But this next esteemed member is usually the resident punching bag, but this week he's the winner of the fan vote. It's your people's champion for the last episode. Rhys Cook, how you doing?
I'm not clapping, by the way. I am doing it. Well, Lewis, thanks, guys. Thanks, Lewis. I wonder if you could, if you've got the poll in front of you there, reveal who was last place.
Unfortunately,
you don't have it in front of you. Sorry,
the information has been deleted. Okay,
it was you. I just distinctly remember it being a toss-up between who would vote for. Adam had a choice between you or myself. And they chose you. Adam's views do not represent that of the Big Picture podcast fan base. I tell you what, he is just totally away with the fans. It feels good to be the champ. You guys, you don't get it.
It was close at first. It looked like there might have been a two-way tie, like another tag team going on, but Rhys managed to pull it out of the bag and clearly very excited about it. His first win, not a real win. It's a fan vote.
That's more important. We've already established that. But I actually haven't had time to check. Like I checked, Jack and I were talking about it on Monday, and I haven't checked since. So I was actually coming into this a bit blind. So I am actually a bit surprised. So I'm very happy. Thanks for everyone for voting me.
Yes, and that is your resident people's champion. In case you're wondering what we're talking about here, we release a vote after we've debated the episode where you can decide who else is the winner, not just the one that we pick. And finally, the man who's, well, his pitches are all golden balls. It's Stewart.
That's me. That's me, your resident golden balls pitcher. I don't know how I can follow that. That filibuster from Rhys. All I can hope for is the subsequent inquiry into all these Twitter bots that voted that poll.
There's a Russian interference going on in the Big Picture podcast.
There's something. But yeah, looking forward to today's topic and to you hosting, Lewis. So yeah, bring me that horizon.
Yeah, and as we kind of teased with Jack there, we're going to get into this episode's big topic, and that is the video game Sea of Thieves. Now, in case you have no idea what Sea of Thieves is, it is, I guess, ironically, an MMORPG in which you play the role of a pirate in a massive open world. You can do various tasks like a pirate would do, and yeah, I mean, it's not a deep game. I don't want to go too in depth with it because I'm sure some of the guys have pitches and things they want to address and talk about the game, and I'm going to go to you first, Jack. Like, as I mentioned before, if there's ever a game solely made for one man, it was you. And as soon as this game was announced, the group chat was ablaze by you alone. Every time something was revealed, you were getting there, like, download this game, guys, pre-order this game, guys. You were clearly affected by the hype. So my question for you is, how did the hype pan out from what you expected and what you got?
Better disappointment.
Oh.
Yeah. Care to expand, perhaps?
So way back when it got announced, it's something I've always wanted. There's this, I can't mind the game. We spoke about it before. Some pirate game that was out on PC and PS2, and that's kind of been the most kind of open world style pirate game you ever got, because the Pirates of the Caribbean games have been story driven to the movie. And this was announced, and it fed you a dream. You were able to go and do like maps and hunt stuff, and you can go find treasure. You can go and like tackle other players like ships and that, and take their loot, and you can cash it in and you get the rewards from it. You can go and defeat like pirate lords and whatever. And that was pretty much like the premise. The premise of the game was literally just to be a pirate, and I was on the kind of insider program thing for it, or at least one of us was, and they got a beta code and they got sent amongst the rest of us, and we played the beta. And to be fair, the beta, for what it was all right, because it kind of teased you with some stuff. So you can only get up to level 5, and there's 3 factions or 3 kind of side quest lobbies you can go to. So you can do the gold hoarders, and you get given this kind of parchment type thing. It's got a map of where treasure's located, or it's got some sort of riddle. You can be like the transporter of goods across the place, and you go to an island, you have to take over like X amount of fruit, or you have to find something on an island and take it to somewhere else, or you can do the pirate lord ghost hunting, and you can go kill pirates. And also it's very limited in the beta of what you could have done. And not that we were upset, but we were just kind of like, hopefully there's more to the game when the game actually releases. So obviously I went all in. I went and pre-ordered the game. I got the special cosmetics and whatnot, and the game when it came out was absolutely no different to the beta. It was utterly soul destroying, and I'm pretty sure Lewis, Adam and Stewart, I'm pretty sure redeemed your Game Pass at that time to get the free month. And I'm pretty sure once that free month was over, we all uninstalled the game and I traded it back in.
If I remember right, Adam, I think you'll help maybe have a better memory about this than I do. When the 1X was announced, it kind of came with the Game Pass, and I think Sea of Thieves was kind of tying in with the 1X thing. There we had a chance to play it. It was just nobody really cared that much about it. It wasn't any different from the beta. Now, Adam, last week we had a chance to discuss MMORPGs, and as a host, you didn't really get a chance to pitch anything. So for you, like, since Sea of Thieves kind of tied into that MMORPG kind of genre, kind of some of the stuff we spoke about last episode, was that enough to fix it? Was it a product of over hype and under delivery? What's kind of your thoughts and feelings about this game?
I feel like it was released, I think they maybe intended in development perhaps to lean more into the MMO side of the kind of player base, but I think then when they released the game, I don't know if it was, and I don't know, but for me, this is my experience of the game, is that you encounter 1, maybe 2 ships while you're playing. You can play for 2-3 hours, you get maybe 1 or 2 other ships and other players, and I think maybe they were hoping that it was either going to be a big player base and it was going to be really populated, and maybe that was going to make up for the lack of story structure, or it was I don't, or maybe they realized they didn't have the technology or whatever to have this, or they just for whatever reason didn't do it. I think that's the kind of weakness of the game for me, is that for me a game about pirates and exploring the open seas, and to give full credit to the game, they're very open, 100%. You can go anywhere. Problem being, there's not that much to do. A lot of the places are kind of the same. If there was more player interaction, I think I would be more interested in the game. I think that's kind of where they fell down for me.
I think I have very limited experience with this game, and the most fun I had was being a stupid, specifically drunken pirate with my friends, and you kind of touched on it there with them not being a big player base. Do you think it was probably overhype, or was it Game Pass failed, or was it just that was just never meant to happen?
I don't know.
It's a loaded question, but I think we can safely assume that the game did under-deliver.
Yeah, it definitely failed. It failed, 100%. I think that's why
it promised story, and then you never got that story.
Yeah,
everyone kind of expected some sort of narrative to begin with, and it wasn't there until about 6 months later.
It's hard to recover from stumbling at the blocks like that. However, there was one man in this podcast who actually didn't experience Sea of Thieves till well after its release, and that was Rhys. Now, when we brought this topic up, we made sure that he had no view of trailers, no any opinion, so he's free of expectation. Now, Rhys, I guess I'll bring you in here. What was your experience versus what both Jack and Adam have kind of elaborated there?
That's what I say. Sea of Thieves, best game of all time.
Yes!
The best game ever.
Come on, end the podcast here, Lewis. We don't need to do it anymore. I can't get better.
Jack, Adam, Stewart and I played the other night. I think it was Friday night or something, I don't know. And honestly, I was in tears laughing. I was just having the time of my life. They were all sweating, but well, Stuart maybe not, but Adam especially, he was sweating. He was only getting chest. I had no idea what was going on, but he got a chest. He put it on the boat, stole the chest, and I was like swimming away with the chest, and then I ended up in the jail. I can't remember what it's called, but I was in the jail on the boat, and they were all chucking water at me and getting drunk and playing their instruments around me, and it was hilarious. But then Jack, Adam and I played last night or the night before, and we somewhat tried to take it seriously, and oh my gosh, it's just the dullest, most boring. Nothing happens. The controls are clunky. It's just the NPCs are. Yeah, I'm not going to get too much into it because it'll spoil my pitch, but honestly, I was bored. Adam was like begging to go off the game by the end of it. It was just, it's not enjoyable. And I wanted to watch the trailers and that, like you said, but I was not allowed. Categorically was told by Ollies, do not watch it. So yeah, it was, even with no hype, it failed to live up to the standards set by you guys who do not rate it at all.
I think the worst thing about that was that they've changed the side quest recently. I never knew this until we played it. So originally, the gold Taurus quest is what we were doing. So this is where you go and you spend gold to get this kind of treasure map, and you follow the treasure map to get the treasure and cash it in and see if you get rewarded like handsomely or not. Usually, you just get the one map and one or two maps. You find the chests or whatever, and then you go and cash it in. But it seemed that on this time, the riddles were ridiculously difficult, and whenever you found something, it would load up this kind of black screen and it'd be chapter 2, and you were like, I thought it was over, so you had to do it all again, and then you do the same things and you find your chest or whatever, and then it loads up another black screen, and it's like chapter 3, and you have to do it all again. And it loads up a black screen that's final chapter, and you have to do it all again.
I think it's not a good sign for a game where you hate the fact that you're having to do the mission. Like, you don't feel like a really good game is something where you don't want the mission to end, you're enjoying it so much. We were, by the fourth, like Jack says, the fourth chapter, we were like, oh my.
The thing was that we got so ticked off by how ridiculously difficult the riddle was. Not even that it was that ridiculously difficult, but what I was wanting to find is so minute on a huge island that it was near impossible, just by chance that I found it, that it just adds that strain onto the rest of the mission. You just wanted that mission to be over so you could do something else, but you couldn't. You were tied into finishing it.
The main point to take from that is that Jack found it, everyone. Jack found it. Well done, Jack. Well done.
Thank you.
Most pirate one of us all. So it's been touched on. We'll bring in our last esteemed member, Stewart. So you recently had a chance to revisit the game with the guys, both at launch and also, as has been said, like over this last week. I don't know if you'll remember your original experience, but how much has it changed? Has it improved, or is it, as some of the guys have alluded to, just a long stream of boring and mess?
It depends what you want from the game. I remember when it all started, obviously, right, the hype. I can't stress to the audience how much Jack Graham was hyped over this game. All right.
Oh, there was daily messages.
There was daily messages. I was on what we like. This is obviously back 100 years ago before the pandemic, when E3 was still a thing. Usually, like a lot of us would be in our Xbox party and we'd watch the stream live. And as soon as that pirate game was announced, that was all. You could have announced anything after that, and Jack would not have remembered it. That was the game. That was the experience he took from it. I mean, ladies and gents. Oh, and of course, that was the year. That must have been the year for pirate exclusives, because another pirate game was announced that probably to its benefit has not been released, because I don't think Jack could take the 2 hits on 2 subpar pirate games.
Oh, I would be here if there was 2 subpar pirate games.
That's it. That's the cold hard reality. But I mean, Jack Graham went on a pirate name generator and made us all pick pirate names for this game, and that was then our nicknames for the pirate chat. That's what it became. And we are all grown men, and we are all in our 20s. And this is, I'm sorry guys, but this is the admission. All right, this is what happened. And then, as we've all said, the time came.
Wait, before you go into that point, Stuart, can I just have a point that I'm not a virgin. I don't have a pirate name, so you guys can
Jack,
don't drag me down
right now. Get Rhys's pirate name by the end of the show.
I'll do it. Because you've asked for it, I will get it.
You tell us what it is, and we'll refer to it by the whole podcast.
Yeah.
But when it launched, as Lewis said, it's not a deep game, unless you're drowning in the water. It's not a deep game. Like it's a fun way to pass the time. And when we all kind of started playing it on that beta, what I liked about it was the cross-platform. You could play with people on PC, because my friends who play PC that don't have a console, I was able to finally, after years of not really being able to play any games with them, I could play Sea of Thieves. And I thought that was a great concept. It really opened up the world. But yeah, as the guys have already said, once you finally understand that every mission is basically, right, you've got the map, go here, get whatever's buried, take it back, rinse, repeat. And I mean, that is all this game has to offer. It is everything. There is no other variety. Even doesn't matter if it's like a message in a bottle or like a skull that you have to find. It's all the same. There is no variety. And those riddles are hard. I have another confession, and this is to everyone in this podcast. All right, I have not done a Sea of Thieves mission where I did not have to look up a walkthrough. That is. See, there you go, Jack. I'm sorry. Every mission.
I like how Jack's like, what? But he's probably done it too.
Right.
But not every mission.
Jack
tutorial. Stuart had the guide up.
Every time we did a mission, I had to look up a tutorial. Jack,
man, I thought sometimes you were just on fire doing what?
We weren't, Jack. We spent hours doing these bloody missions.
We played it in lockdown. Let's not forget.
We had nothing else to do, and we still had to look up walkthroughs. I remember I was me, Jack, and Adam, and no exaggeration, we spent 4 hours doing this one quest. All right, we didn't finish it. We left it. We don't know what was buried there. It could have been the Ark of the Covenant for all we know. It could have been the cure for whatever pirate disease was going on. It could have been the
cure for COVID,
cure for scurvy.
It could have been anything. We have no idea.
Could have been a new rum recipe. I mean, if I recall right, and this would have been the first time I played it with you guys. I think it was myself, Jack, Adam, and Stuart, and I was getting very frustrated by the lack of direction the game gives you, which I think is kind of the point, but also just how monotonous everything was. And I'd like to point out that all the complaints you guys have said was my pitch for the last episode, so I'm just saying I would have fixed this game like that. So, but it's just the most fun you get with a game is just go around with your friends, lock them up in the cell, and throwing up on them.
It really is like that. That is the most fun.
A lot of what was the fun was made when us 4 played together on Friday night was nothing to do with the game itself. It was just us and what we were making of it. It
Taking
had
a
nothing
piss
to
out
do
of
with
me.
it had nothing to do with like what the game was giving you. It's just like we just managed to make our own fun from it, just like being daft in that. Like, for example, like I was just saying, like it was like stealing the treasure and like running away. Like that's got nothing to do because the game said so. Like we just made that fun.
I've no idea how many times Adam fell overboard while we were playing.
I like to stand to the edge. I like to see the view.
But then, like, you're on a ship with all 3 sails, all plating with the wind. Like, this isn't like you're not in like a drift car. You can slam the handbrake, whip it around, and chase you back down. Like, no, you've got to drop the anchor, turn around, drop the sails, pick it back up again. He's 400 meters away. Man overboard.
I do have Rhys's pirate name if you'd like me to read it.
Yes.
Oh, it's all right. We can just
Please.
skip past that part. That good.
It is, and I must have used a different name generator to what we had, so I can't find that one. This one's even got a bit of a couple of sentences after it for a
We've got
story.
backstory. We've got backstory, right?
Oh, here we go.
Details. Give us
On the edge
Oh.
of a seat here.
See you later.
Johnny Cutthroat Clegg, the terror of Spider Monkey Lake. Johnny be frightening away all the natives on the islands and all the other pirates.
He doesn't even get the sea, he gets a lake.
There's a lake.
It's the worst pirate ever.
Sail.
He's got a galley and he can't even turn it because it's
I will cut all your throats. I'm trying to cut.
Pipe down, Clegg, right?
Right. So, as we previously mentioned, the point of this podcast is to critically analyze, bring something new to the table, and spice it up. So, I'm going to go to the man who's most let down by this game first. Jack, I'm excited to hear what you have to say. Can you give us your pitch?
Well, it's something that we've spoke about. Well, at least I mentioned 6 months later with the story. The story itself, obviously, we've complained that the mission that's taken, it can take like 4 hours just to complete one mission or whatever, and a lot of that was just to us not knowing what to do. But the story itself actually seemed kind of promising in that it was actually like a good plot with like you're finding some like golden skull type thing and you're going about researching like historical pirates and what that meant in Ireland and whatever. But with the little direction you had in the missions in the game, you just lose all interest. So my pitch would be like an improvement on the user interface of the game and the assists to the game as well. So anything you do is what they try and the game makes it feel as if you're trying to have a true pirate experience, but from that maybe takes away a bit of the fun. So say if we were doing a mission, there's one mission in the story where you have to go and find this telescope. But in order to find this telescope, you have to read through a book and you have to match all the stories together. You wouldn't have known that if you didn't get given the book. So like say if there was like a mission log and it said match the stories to the book to find the location of the telescope, then that gets checked off. Then the next thing would be like go and travel to so and so island to get this telescope. Then we use the telescope to look up to the clouds, and then you had to find like different like shapes in it. Like so say for example, it was like Orion's belt or whatever. If it said in the mission log, find Orion's belt in the clouds with the telescope. If there was like some sort of direction, so you kind of half knew what you're actually needing to do, you might have been able to enjoy it more because you would have got through the game quicker.
I think that's part of
my pitch.
The part of the allure of pirates in our current age anyway, and I think Assassin's Creed Black Flag kind of nailed this as well, is like the mythical history around them. Like there's a genuine interest in who these people were, and I think if you were able to add that to the game where the story was kind of tying into the mythos behind pirates, it would probably give it some sort of appeal and interest. Is that kind of what you're getting at here?
Yeah, it was as I said, the story was good, but when they've stripped the game back so much to try and make it that proper pirate experience, it can be hard because obviously, as I said, me, Stewart and Adam were doing that quest for ages because we had no direction, no clue what we were doing. It was just by chance at some points we were able to get going. If there was some sort of aid and like a mission log even, so you could see what you've done and what needs to be done next. A lot of time if you just came back and you hadn't played it in a couple of months, you could just be like completely lost of what you're needing to do. There's no aid or narrative to help you on your way. So if there was that sort of thing to do it, it might make it more enjoyable.
And it would probably mean Stewart wouldn't have to have Google up on the side as well. We figure this out.
Yeah. Because the fact is, you'd be able to get story, you'd be able to get through the missions quicker. You'd actually be able to experience the story without having to waste 4 hours on a mission. It could also be applied to like side quests and that as well. Like if there was just some sort of narrative and just some sort of better description of the missions you're needing to do, rather than just you go and you obtain the mission and then that's it. You have to do everything yourself from that point.
Can I just say that I've been worried all week since we decided this is what we were going to do, that everyone was just going to have the same pitch, and I feel like everyone's still going to have the same pitch because the game is just so fundamentally flawed that it's so obvious what you could do to improve it. I was really hoping Lewis would come to me first, but I just think I won the spot.
Well, if all the pitches are the same, you all have equal opportunity to win.
I'll still lose.
I would jump in and say,
but
Jack's pitch. I actually quite like Jack's pitch. And main reason is I'm thinking that one franchise that actually did that is Elder Scrolls. Morrowind and Daggerfall, if you've ever played them, the same kind of thing as Sea of Thieves. You got very little direction, you got instructions, and then you had to follow everything yourself. And then what made Oblivion and Skyrim more appealing was that they just gave you a bit of a helping hand. And I think that, I'm just going to say, I quite like that idea. I think it's something that's been done successfully before. I think it is something that made the game better.
It's something that's probably made the Elder Scrolls, and like you could even say same for Fallout and that as well, it's more enjoyable because it does have that kind of descriptive nature of what needs to be done and what you've achieved before. Because if the games were stripped back as what Sea of Thieves is, I can tell you right now, I wouldn't enjoy it as much.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, a game needs to give you direction and purpose, and if it doesn't do that, then you're never really going to enjoy it. And I would just like to say that is exactly why I pitch for MMORPGs. Anyway, on to the
Lewis, you're not the people's champion. Get over it. As the people's champion, I can say my idea was better.
So does that mean I win this? I'm not going to argue this point anymore. I'm just going to lose. So we'll go on. Adam, you jumped in there. I'm assuming you've got something you'd like to fix with the game, and hopefully it's not the exact same as Jackson. Hopefully this doesn't become the recurring theme that everybody just wants a quote-unquote better game. What is your pitch to save Sea of Thieves?
Yeah, my pitch is inspired, and Jack kind of mentioned it. He didn't name the game earlier, but the game that was on PC he's talking about is called Age of Pirates 2. I actually told him about it and showed him like clips of it because I remember watching a guy play it years ago, and I like really thought it looked so cool. It never got follow up. It never continued on to the next generation when it was actually a really cool game. And one of the things that I want to take from that game is a bit more freedom of choice. That's what I want. I want the factions to have more meaning. I want them to be things like each territory, each island, like obviously certain ones would be like free, but would belong to a faction. I kind of want to lean into the MMORPG element and say that when people you played Mortal Kombat Online, didn't you, Lewis? You know how they work online with the factions. You join, and then things you do at events
and all that. You kind of build an allegiance to them, yeah.
Yeah, and then you things you do for like missions you do for them. It kind of builds up overall. So it's almost like this kind of big faction war, and then everyone contributes to it by playing online. I kind of like something like that. Obviously, it's obviously not set in a real land, so I put in inverted commas British Navy. Because that would obviously be, if we're talking traditional pirates, that would be if you want, I think they should be in the game. Yeah, they're kind of overarching, things like the Portuguese were obviously around the Dutch, but they could call them whatever they wanted, it's not important. I just want a couple of different factions, missions for each faction that would actually like affect the world. So things like helping them take a territory, or an island, or with trade. I think it would just give a bit more variety to the quests for a start. It would hopefully bring a better player base in, a bit of rivalry. You'd hopefully encounter more players. Also feel like, I don't know why they shouldn't just add more NPCs in. I feel like if they were to do this, they would need to add more NPC ships. I think making the sea more popular, it can only be a good thing. It's a huge map, and I think that's...
I feel like you've gone from one bit and you've just started like you've got more and more ideas of stuff that just lose. Oh, NPCs actually. Wait, we could get more ships, and you just heard Rhys like sighing in the background. Like, that's another pitch to go on.
It honestly is. Genuinely, I've got just a list of things here, and it's just getting ticked off slowly but surely. If you come to me last, Lewis, I will not have a pitch.
Planes and Sea of Thieves.
Oh, no planes.
I'll give Adam benefit of the doubt here. I'll because I'll be the one making the poll because I handle the social media. We'll say that his pitch is factions, and to be fair, to him having NPCs and a common enemy attached to these factions all come under that umbrella. So, Adam, I will give you your pitch. Ignore the haters. Block them out.
I will say, though, Adam, that they've added that very, 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 very loosely. So,
yeah, they added factions, but that's right.
The thing is, like, see, how they've got like the gold hoarders and that, so they've got the 3 different quest models. They've added in a different mode so that you can buy like a flag from each of the 3 tents, and that gets added to your ship. And there's a different like kind of PvP mode in it now, and the flag you represent is the team you're on going up against the different ships.
Yeah.
So obviously it's not exactly what you were wanting, but
exactly.
It's a very, very loose version of that.
When I was looking at my pitch, when I was doing my research, I did see that, and I'd looked it up myself. I wanted to see if it was exactly the same, but I think mine would be more kind of
story oriented.
Yeah, more story oriented. I think the PvP element is important, but I think that for me it would drive the story on more, because you wouldn't necessarily need other players. You could just take territories, do these quests, these missions just for your faction, and just make them a better faction. Almost a bit like the way games like Mountain Blade works, in that you join a kingdom if you want, and then gain territory or lose town. You're just part of a bigger machine if you want. I think that's kind of my idea.
Well, I think like even like with your idea, you could still tie in with the mythos, and you could have that common enemy. You could have, I'm going to work with Blackbeard, I'm going to work with this one and that one. But I think with Sea of Thieves, it relied quite heavily on the multiplayer aspect of it. But I think having even like a single player element, which you could do if you actually had NPCs, and that would maybe make people be more likely to go and try it, and then slowly become part of factions, and it probably would help with the popularity of the game. So quite like that, Adam. Quite like that pitch there.
Thank you.
Now he didn't want to go last, so in honor of that, Stewart, how would you like to give us your pitch for pitching Sea of Thieves?
How do I leave the call? Every week I get picked on. I just don't even know why I turn up.
Do you know, I'll the man who is all about betrayal. I'm the golden balls guy here. I'm actually going to allow Rhys to give his pitch before me, because I'm interested to see what I'm interested to hear what Rhys has, because funnily enough, as Rhys said, my pitch hasn't been said yet, but each pitch that has been said so far has actually been something I had considered like pitching. So if it's okay with the host, I would like Rhys to go first.
Oh, I mean, you put me on a hard spot here. Like, do I be the bad guy?
Shut up, Rhys. It's my turn to
talk. See, I was actually going to let you do it, but since because you're just going to take that tone with me, nah,
here's my
not letting it fly.
Every player in the game gets this golden ball, okay?
I was on your side, Rhys. I was on your side.
You've just stolen Stewart's pitch. Come on.
Sorry, Stuart.
It's
you
all
think a
I've
pitch
got.
hadn't been said.
Snatch, steal, lie. Come on. No, okay.
Right, no.
We'll concede.
Okay, thanks. Right, well, I've got 5 things listed here, and at least 2 of them have been said so far, and I feel like they were the main 2 parts.
So you're telling me you had 3 other options?
No, it all kind of ties into one thing. Thanks.
A new game.
Well, that was Adam's pitch, was it not? Instead of playing Sea of Thieves, just play that other pirate game. I'm sure I forgot the name of it.
Skull and Crossbones coming March 2021.
Right, okay. So I had, improve the story / quest, because they were very boring, and I just got bored of going onto a map, looking at a riddle, digging up a chest and going on. That was boring. I didn't want to do that. And I also had, get NPC boats, like pirate boats in the sea, so that you can like take over them and just like fight the pirates, like the NPC pirates, and like engage with them. I think, to be fair to them, they probably thought that the game was going to be bigger and that there wouldn't be any room in the sea for NPC pirates. But obviously, there's not a huge player base. Certainly, when we played, the 2 times that I played, we only came across 1 boat, and I managed to get onto it, to be fair to me, but I did die straight away. So, not that Jack and Adam were helping; they were about 200 miles away.
Did Adam fall off the boat?
That was me. Yeah, that's how I ended up in their boat.
I did crash the boat later on going for that same ship. So,
so yeah, I think NPC pirates in the sea would be a good, like, if you could like fight them in that, and it gives you something to do that is not the missions or the quest, because they were pretty boring. And Lewis would love improved quests, as we know, That was his pitch last week, guys. If you didn't know, he's not mentioned it yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's just in case nobody knows. Last week I pitched
but I think when you play a game, there's a lot of little things that you do that the game does that you don't notice. And I find that Sea of Thieves is just very anal. It's like trying to, I think Lewis alluded to it earlier, that it's trying to give you the true pirate experience. And when you do that, you kind of narrow down your player base. So I think a good way to expand the game and make it more playable for a larger audience is adding a variety of things to do, like the NPC pirates and better quests, but also making the game mechanics just less clunky. It was like if you're swimming at sea, and Stuart knows how much this really annoyed me. When you try to get onto an island, you can't climb on. You have to find a bit of land that evens out. I just couldn't understand it. Your hand should exist for more than just holding props. I was so angry at it. I think I went on a rant for about 20 minutes, and I don't want to do it again. But I'm actually feeling myself getting a bit annoyed right now. I couldn't believe it. And also, like, Jack was really good at navigating, and he knew where to go and all that. Like, head east and all that. And that was fine. I just felt like a map in the top left, like a wee circle, showing you where you're going, showing you what islands are there. That could improve the game. I've got all the just little things, just improve the game mechanics a little bit, make the game a less anal, and improve it by adding in things like better quests and NPC pirates at sea to ransack, take on board. I also thought that improving your character, making them look better, not by like buying outfits, but just actually having Adam and Jack will know what I mean here when I say on pro clubs. And Lewis, you might have played the Madden version. The pro clubs, they've got different like styles for your guys. You can design your guy however you want and give him a name and all that. Just little things like that. Just
like creating a faction.
Like I did say everyone was stealing my ideas. Just improving the game just a little bit and making it less anal and making it more fun for a larger audience rather than giving the true 100% pirate experience, I thought would be the best way to improve this game in the two times that I've played it. And that is my big pitch.
I like how Rhys was... Sorry, Lewis. I like how Rhys is saying about how you have to go and find the best place to like weigh anchor so that your ship can go onto the island. When on Friday, somehow Rhys managed to wedge the ship onto the dock, so much so that when we raised anchor, we couldn't move, and the ship. Not only did we have to scuttle the ship scuttled itself because it disappeared. It like completely vanished, and we were just thrown into the sea.
Well, I did break the game, yes, I will admit I did do that. But, that's the true gaming experience. You guys would have never had that before, so you're welcome.
It's not a bug, it's a feature.
Exactly.
So, last but not least, hopefully nobody else has stepped on his toes with his pitch. Stuart, how do you fix Sea of Thieves?
Well, like I said, each of the pitches that have been said already, something I already contemplated, and I think that kind of speaks to what the game needs. But I'd say to go with something different. I feel that you're having the best fun with Sea of Thieves when it's super cash. You're having a good time with your pals. It's nothing to do with quests or treasure or try to figure out what's some riddle that honestly no pirate has any knowledge knowing. All right, it's like something out of like Homer's Odyssey, like, and some pirate who's got no basis of education has no idea what a riddle even is. No offense to the pirates out there, but I feel like it's best. It's a good game at its heart when you're just having lots of fun. So my big pitch is leaving the game as it is just now, but adding multiplayer modes. So you can do what you currently have, which is you have your quote story where you go on these quests to find treasure, but you can also go and do multiplayer modes. And these multiplayer modes could be like ship combat modes, like 50 ships versus 50, so you could be on a ship, you could play as the humans versus, I know there's like haunted skeletons, those could be the two teams. And, you know, it could be a bit like Rainbow Six Siege where everyone has a role. As Rhys said, somebody's the navigator, somebody's on weapons, somebody's on sails, you know, somebody's making sure that the ship isn't sinking. I feel like that could be either a free-for-all or team-based, because that would just be chaos, and I would love that. Imagine how much fun that would be. 100 ships, just a full-on war. It just all multiplayer. I think that would be great. And then you could also maybe have like a treasure race. Like it's 2 ships, 2 teams. You know, you have to go and find the treasure first to win, and you can. You know, I feel like even like monster modes, because obviously they've got like the Megalodon and the Kraken. Like you could have like a huge monster map that you have to kill as many monsters as possible. So that's my pitch. I would just love like a multiplayer mode, because every pitch that's been said I agree with, and it's something that I contemplated. But I was like, what do I take most from Sea of Thieves? And to be honest, it's just how much fun you can have with your pals, and I just want to add to that rather than, you know, do anything with the experience you have now.
Some of that, Stuart, is already in the game.
Oh, you're kidding.
Jack says that after every pitch, yet for some reason the game was still garbage.
Well, he didn't say it after my pitch. Take note of that, guys. Everyone
the thing about how you were saying the 100 like crew or whatever, it's not as big as that, but it's like 40 or 50 players can be in the arena mode, and you're part of like the Sea Dogs faction, and it's like a 20-minute battle of like the amount of time. Not all the stuff you suggested is like in it, so like the treasure rush thing, for example, but like the elements of battling like each other's crews in that kind of arena is there as a separate mode.
Then why the hell have we not played that? I want to play that. I don't want you've got me doing these bloody treasure hunts. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
It's only just been added to it in the past couple of months.
He keeps saying these things have just been added after they said. I'm pretty sure he said this to Adam.
Is there a 6th person on this call that works for Sea of Thieves and they're just stealing our ideas?
I mean, every chance. Every chance.
That's data miner. There's a data miner, and they're going in the big picture files.
They're on the group chat just stealing our ideas. Gee whiz.
Well, anyway, I'll stand. It's multiplayer modes. I feel like
LTMs.
it's more than that.
LTMs, like a treasure
rush.
Like
Fortnite.
Fortnite.
I was actually going to make that comparison there, because didn't Fortnite do a kind of, I don't know if it's 50-50. I remember playing with Jack. I don't really play Fortnite, but it was like 2 massive teams, but even then each team was like a group of 4. So you could do that with Sea of Thieves, where like it's 50 on 50, but everybody's on their own ship of 4. So
yeah. There's a bunch of LTMs you could add to Sea of Thieves that.
The rest, there's like
similar things,
there's like King of the Hill. There's even like take it from Halo. You know, like capture the flag, all this stuff. You know, like there's so many things you could do with that kind of game. You know, like
and Stuart said earlier, the planes. Planes in Fortnite. I mean, Sea of Thieves. That'd be good.
If I take a Halo mode, can we get Griffball?
I mean, they've got the skull. They've got the skulls to carry. And here's the thing. You know what? I'm going to add this purely to get Adam's vote. All right. Limited time only. Treasure Planet game modes.
Oh, all right. I have a feeling I know who I'm voting for.
I was going to vote for you, Stuart, but now I'm voting for someone else. Lewis, maybe.
Is it yourself?
You're going to vote for Lewis's pitch last week.
Well, it's been brought up enough times.
I mean, at this point, even on the host, I probably could pitch. I'm not going to, because that's unfair. I think what's most painful about this game is that we've all identified just how much potential it had. It just didn't quite live up to that. And I think maybe it was a product of overhype, but hopefully they maybe listen to this podcast. I'm gonna be like try and speak to the developers, give them a DM.
I don't even think. Sorry to jump in. Listen, I don't even think it's all. I don't think it's all on them. Like, because obviously the developers Rare, they've made great games. Like Rare's a tried and tested game studio, and you know they have made good games. I think another thing that Sea of Thieves had going against it was the lack of exclusives that Xbox had this generation. We all know that they have been really poor with exclusives, and the fact that this was heralded as one of the great exclusives that was coming, and I think that was also the hype that led up to it. I think also Xbox let them down. I feel like if we had great exclusives last generation, it would have been a nice palate cleanser. You know how like Fall Guys currently on PlayStation is like a little palette. We don't know. Rhys is the only one. Well, Lewis has a PlayStation as well. But like, but Even if it wasn't for Fall Guys.
Yeah, I do.
There you go. You guys can play together.
We'll play Fall Guys together. I'll put it up and down later.
But like Xbox didn't have anything substantial to be, to add Sea of Thieves to a lineup. Instead, Sea of Thieves was the lineup, and I feel like that was also stopping the game from reaching true potential, because I feel like Xbox were really pushing it because it was all they had to push.
Well, even like just pure console sales, there just isn't enough fans to spread out over on the Xbox to get them to go over to Game Pass, specifically Sea of Thieves, especially with something like Game Pass. There's a lot of games just being added to it, but I mean, as you said, Xbox have just struggled this generation with exclusives, and while PS4 had No Man's Sky as a timed exclusive, they even ran to that sort of issue where it's still just that there wasn't enough draw to go into those games. I think that's maybe the fact that there's still, I don't know, I don't want to say stigma because it is rare. They're not like a small studio, but there is an indie element to these games. I think that's maybe put a lot of people off. But you've heard the pitches. I'll try and summarize them. Jack, correct me if I'm wrong, but you pitched a improved quest system and a better story, or at least kind of rekindling that story.
Yeah.
Adam, you then pitched a faction system, which would massively overhaul the game, as well as NPCs.
Yeah.
Rhys, I actually don't know what you pitched, man.
Yeah, great. Now, I feel like I do get sabotaged. I brought it up last time. Just make the game less idle and make it more playable for a wider fan base by fixing game mechanics and adding in little things.
Right, an improved game mechanics scheme, kind of touched on Jack there. And then Stewart as well. I forgot what you pitched on as well. I'm going to.
Oh my god!
Golden balls. Nah,
I was gonna write that joke, but I think the joke kind of took over from what you were saying.
Multiplayer modes, just like lots of varied multiplayer modes.
LTMs.
Right. Okay.
Stop calling it that. That sounds weird.
But it's a better way of doing it.
LTMs.
That's what they are.
You can blame Fortnite for that.
Up the Fortnite.
So you guys have heard the pitches. If you could send me in your votes, we shall tally them up. And while you guys are doing that, I would just like to plug again that we will be doing a fan vote for this. We do them from all of them. I will promise to have them properly figured out and shortened appropriately for Twitter. Head over to @_thebigpicture, in which you can vote and decide who you think did best fixing Sea of Thieves. I want to pitch a question to you guys as well. Sea of Thieves.
Before you do that, Lewis, I just want to say that I actually really struggled picking who I picked this week because I was torn between what I would enjoy more versus what would actually make the game better. And I thought everyone had a really good pitch this week, especially Jack, who I didn't vote for, who had a really good pitch.
Man, I voted for you.
Potential.
I
I was expecting no votes.
No, because yours tied into mine, that's why I voted for it. I thought if they two combined, it'd be good, but
Well, Lewis, I'm going to send you a new vote here.
Right, okay.
That's how we do things here.
Right, so coming in last place is Adam with 0 votes.
Oh. Karma's a bitch!
This is like Game of Thrones, man. This is just backstabbing.
Did you pitch last week? We get it. Everyone pitched something last week, Stuart. God's sake.
Coming in tied second, I guess, is Jack and Rhys, tied 1 vote apiece. Which means your winner this week with 2 votes is Stuart.
Thank you.
No applause from me.
Do you know why? Because I did not try to vote in any games or anything like that. I was not, feeding hate. I let Rhys go. I was a nice, polite dark horse in this race, and that is why Sea of Thieves holds a very special place in my heart.
Stuart, do you think a good LTM would be like golden balls?
Every time you say that, it's like a sandwich. All right.
What do you mean? What?
Like BLT, BMT League.
BLT.
That's honestly the first. I don't know what's wrong with me, but see when Jack was talking earlier about the like Orion's belt, all I could think, I had a genuine question, and then I get sidetracked by myself thinking, what movie's that been in? And I was like, Men in Black. That's it, like Orion's belt, and then I missed completely what somebody else said.
So yes, wrap this up.
Your clueless winner is me.
Well, let's get this over with. I'm
People's champ, Stuart, I know how it feels to be this happy when everyone votes for you. It's great, isn't it?
Don't speak to me.
Right, I mean, clearly this topic is setting the boys off, but let everybody know you can follow us again on Instagram and Twitter at _thebigpicture. You can find us on all your major podcasting stations, Spotify, Google, YouTube, iTunes, all of them. Make sure to give us a review, comment. We love the feedback. I would like to thank the guys for some of their excellent pitches. All of
You're welcome.
Pat on the back, a good clapping round of applause for you all.
Up the Virgin.
For listening, and we really appreciate the support. And hopefully, I don't know, maybe we'll have a less tight vote for People's Champion. Actually, you know what? I quite like the tight votes People's Champion because we debate these. Oh, we send them back and forth the group chat to see who's winning. Anyway, thank you for listening. Good night and good luck.